You think all dealerships are going to kind of go on to AI, or you think there's going to be some
100%. Yeah.
100%?
Yep. And if they don't, they're just not going to be in business. Like I'm so confident in that. That's why we've completely pivoted after 10 years of marketing tier two and tier three.
Yeah.
Like, hey, shut the agency down or keep it running for our current clients, but go all in on the AI.
No,
I
AI.
100% bet my life over it.
Dude, it's first to market. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. How fast
Yeah.
can you get on board and get these clients on, right? Before someone else does it for you, or someone else does it regardless, right? Kind of
hmm
blows you out of the water.
This is Super SaaS Bros with Cory and Jayde. Let's jump in.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Super SaaS Bros. We are your hosts, Cory and Jayde, and today we have the pleasure to bring on who I have the pleasure of calling a dear friend of mine. He is an ultra marathoner and has a huge voice in the automotive AI industry. No pun intended. Please welcome Brayden Gingrich. What's up, dude?
Hello, gentlemen. How are you guys?
Incredible, man. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on here. This is my first time on the guest end on Riverside, so this is a new experience for me, and I'm excited to chat today.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, what we usually do when we start off is we kind of put our guests in a little scenario. You're in an Uber ride, you're in the back seat, and the Uber driver says to you, "Hey, Brayden, who are you? What do you do?" What would you say?
Ooh, I like this. Okay. I'm somebody who always challenges themselves and others around them to be the best version of themselves. I know that sounds kind of cheesy. People would say I'm an uplifter, if there's a word to describe that. It's something I always try to focus on is how I get better in specific areas of my life and business. Ultra marathoner, that would be that's not very accurate. I did it once, but thank you, Jayde, for pumping the tires. But I do love exercise and health and living my best life in that way. I am a co-founder of a company called DealerSurge AI, and we eliminate 100% of missed calls and opportunities for car dealerships. And so I don't know. I wouldn't tell my Uber driver all of that, but it's kind of just like the quick rundown.
That's okay. Hey, that's why you get out of the Uber driver and then you jump into this podcast and you finish telling us everything, the rest that you wouldn't tell him. So let's talk about DealerSurge. So you said you are, the founder of DealerSurge. Tell us a bit more about it. You said like 0 missed calls for dealerships, but like how did that even start? Like why start DealerSurge? Where did that come from?
So growing up, like I've always had a huge passion for cars. I've had family in the car business. I've had relationships inside of the car business. My mentor owns a dealership, mentor for over 10 years. And so one of the very first clients I ended up working with, I had a marketing agency back in high school, was a car dealership, which was my mentors. And over the years, we've run tier 2 and 3 advertising for dealership groups across North America. And one of the biggest problems stood out to us about a year ago. The average dealership misses 30 to 40% of their phone calls. That's $1 million in gross front end and back end profit every single year as an average. And so, when we're marketing these dealerships and we're trying to get more business and leads, like we are burning money because nobody's picking up the phone when those customers convert into conversions, right? And so we're here, like, how do we fix the bucket that's leaking silently using AI and agentic architecture? And that's what leads us here today. So we're a marketing agency for 10 years turning into a SaaS company. And that's our focus, is to eliminate all those missed opportunities and make dealerships more efficient, profitable, and sell more cars.
Very cool, man. So one of the things that we've kind of, everyone kind of knows about like who Six Summit is on this podcast. We've talked about it many times, obviously. And one of the issues that we've faced in many different industries, I'm curious to your thoughts on it, is the adoption of AI. I think in the dealership space, right, it's obviously very niche down, and I think it's incredible to focus on that opportunity. But how have you found the adoption of AI in this space?
Yeah. So interesting question. So I'm based in Canada. Our company is Canadian, but half of our business is down in the US. And very distinct differences. Number one is the American dealers and any American business, buys technology way before Canadian companies do, and they adopt way faster and easier. They're more numbers driven, it's just seemingly more business minded. I mean, maybe that's a wrong way to say it, but they just adopt technology faster down there. And so it's very clear in building this process, this marketing company, and turning into SaaS, is like the Americans will always adopt faster. Generally, Canadian dealerships are around 2 years behind the curve. And yeah, so like, and then you look at sales cycles and all these types of things, they're maybe a little longer here. I think it comes down to one thing, and this isn't just dealerships. This is any business adopting, not even just AI. It's like any system, new software, etc. It's just change. Nobody wants change. And so the whole point of AI is to reduce the amount of change. Or, if you have a grocery list and you have 10 items on this list, well, AI is now going to take 3 or 6 of them, right? Or a to-do list. And so we're just eliminating responsibility inside of operations to make things more efficient. And so when our dealers find that out and understand that concept, it's easier to sell or get them to buy. But yeah, adoption, we'll see. We'll see how it goes as the technology improves, right?
That's like super interesting. I don't know if I've ever actually heard someone say that US adopts faster than Canadian businesses. Like I've always known it's a bigger market, so there's just more opportunity there. But in terms of the adoption factor, I wouldn't think there would have been such a huge gap, like a 2-year difference between adoption cycles. So knowing that you are Canadian based, like I assume that's one of the biggest challenges you're dealing with. But how are you? No, I don't want to say convincing, but how are you working with the Canadian dealers to get them to adopt at a quicker pace than the U.S. counterparts? Is it just through education, or you have other means?
Yeah, well, Cory, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, the market's way bigger. The TAM in the U.S. is much larger.
Sure.
In North America as a whole, there's 18,000 franchise dealerships. There's about 37,000 last time I checked independent dealerships. Our ICP falls in line with the OEMs, the franchised, and larger independent stores. So maybe there's just more business in the U.S., more dealerships. That's probably gives the illusion of faster adoption. But in it's just a numbers game, right? It's like if there's a dealership that has call tracking, or any business, I'm going to say dealership a lot in this episode, but any business that has call tracking, and you see how many calls you miss, and then average out the close rate or conversion rate on your phone calls, and then you're going to spit some number out in revenue and gross profit. It's just numbers, it's just math, and it's very obvious to our clients. Cool.
Yeah, so what we have seen in the space that we're in is a lot of small businesses create this barrier to entry because they're worried about the security and privacy of the information they may give to a voice agent. How have you been able to handle that in the dealership space?
Yeah, good question. So I think it goes back to what data you're collecting and how much of it you're collecting. In a regular phone call to a dealership, you're really just giving your name, what time you want to come in for an appointment, maybe what vehicle you're interested in, and maybe what vehicle you're trading in, and how much mileage is on it. So there's no financial information that we collect over the agent and in the background, but we do securely store, obviously, their contact information. And so we have a bunch of security for that end of things, but we're not talking about financial numbers. We're not talking about rates. We're not giving prices over the phone through the AI. We set these really strict guardrails so the AI doesn't talk about these things and lead a customer astray. And so if you look at financial products or banking, right? I call TD Bank all the time, and it's an AI, and it asks me for my PIN and all this information on my company and my personal identity. That is way more like fintech, way more secure, and a lot more worries behind the scenes. So just streamlining what information that we're collecting.
That's fair. And how about let's talk about your actual customers and clients that you guys have that you're using the platform right now. I know you said you have, a good chunk of your business in the US right now. What are some big wins that you're seeing from your customers? Or what do they love most about the platform so far? What's some positive feedback that you've gotten?
3 things. the revenue, obviously, that they would have lost because their dealership isn't picking up the phone. Last month, one of our Stellantis stores, 37 or 38 booked appointments for service, and then 27 sales leads that came through. And that's just because somebody's not picking up the phone. And so that's tens of thousands of dollars in gross profit every single month this dealership was losing, around $1 million a year. Again, just because not picking up the phone. So that was nice to see that data with all those statistics out there online actually come to fruition. And we could show our client, hey, look at the analytics. Here's the calls that came into the system and the conversion rate. That's number one. So that was really exciting. Number two was we thought voice agents were going to be adopted very poorly by older people. In fact, they're the highest converting callers on our AI platform because the way they speak and engage.
Really?
And so they might not know it's AI. 90% of people don't, because voice agents are so good these days, some of them.
Yeah.
And so, like, hey, I'm calling for an oil change, right? In this voice, right? And they're just so patient with the AI, and it creates this amazing exchange. So that was another one, right? Like, our clients were like, wow, this 70-year-old lady called in the other day and she was just blown away by the customer service. Meanwhile, it's Jessica or Lexi, our AI. So that was cool. That was fun.
Yeah, that's super cool because you almost think stereotypically it's the opposite, right? You have
Yeah.
the younger generation that's creating the friction. I love that. So okay, so now you have this understanding. You're gathering this feedback from your clients, right? From the wins that they're seeing. You got this data now. How are you using this data to help, what I'll say, like, evolve your business and evolve the experience that your platform is creating for your users?
Yeah, so like this is really interesting. We're pretty new into this. We have some great dealerships on board, and we're growing every day. But relatively speaking, it's a startup. And so with the data that we've collected, or like our future product roadmap, it's shifted so much. Like, even in the last week, like, we realized we shouldn't be building all these features to drive just revenue. We need to make the client experience even better. Like, that's the point of AI as well. It's not to replace people and be more profitable that way. It's to drive more revenue and a better customer experience, which leads to higher profits. And so looking at it that lens, we're kind of retooling our feature roadmap and making sure that the voice itself and how it engages with the customer is our number one focus. Because at the end of the day, that's the first line of defense for getting a lead to convert into a booked appointment. If that experience is not perfect, the product isn't perfect.
Dude, I totally agree. And that's like a methodology we preach here too. It's like, how quick can we get the product out to our customers to get feedback as quick as possible? You start building all these new features that really it's your own theory that you believe that they want, right?
Yep.
You have no feedback, and you're spending sometimes months and months and pouring a lot of time, money, and energy into building something. And then the clients come onto it and they're like, they're not using it, or they're giving you poor feedback, something that they want. Just keeping it lean, keeping it full startup mode. I love that, man. I love that for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, like, sorry, Cory.
No, go.
I think, like, so the product roadmap that we currently have and the features that we're working on building were all requested by customers because they drive a ton of revenue and profits, and it just makes sense. Like,
As it should be.
without getting into the weeds, it's just a no-brainer products or features. But at the end of the day, if the AI agent doesn't engage perfectly and it's not prompted correctly and the guardrails are slightly off, none of those features are going to convert. And that's my fear. Is there's so many AI companies, not just in automotive, but all over the place, that promise all these new features and products. But when they get installed into the business, that's what's causing the chaos and frustration around AI. Is it's not a perfect fit. And companies need to understand that AI products need to be tailored to their dealership or their business over time. This isn't a plug and play product. I don't think it ever will be. And so custom tailoring these AI agents to the business is essential. And I just think a lot of people aren't doing that.
Yeah. And Cory, I'll let you go, but just another quick thought I had is, a lot of small businesses are thinking this stuff is plug and play. It's got to feel like magic, right? And I think what they don't realize is the integration onboarding process that kind of goes along with it. And I've seen this in many industries. Is building an onboarding flow something that is top of mind for you guys to kind of make it self-serve? Or are you guys looking to just do a white glove approach in perpetuity?
Definitely white glove and perpetuity. That's our focus. We're in the business, like the car business is a people business, right?
Yeah.
You're not selling cars. You're selling memories, the family, road trips, efficiency, and so this is just a relationship business, and that white glove service is what dealers really appreciate. I'm sure. Yeah, could we build a SaaS product that's all self-serve? Yep, but it's not going to serve their customers the best in that way.
That's totally fair. I echo what Jayde said. Like, we've seen this so much, but I think the white glove service is definitely the right way to go, because even like I think we've talked about this. Maybe we've talked on another podcast, but like the pizza voice agent that we developed as well too. Like, when we're thinking about like each shop, like, do we set up each shop white glove service, make sure it's tailored, because like then you start dealing with edge cases for each dealership for you, right? And that's the biggest, usually the hardest thing to deal with voice agents. Like, whenever you start asking it for things that maybe a service that doesn't exist at that dealership for whatever reason, can it handle that exception well? And so I don't know if that's what you're also seeing as well too. Like, the exception cases are the hardest ones to solve.
Yes.
Yeah.
1,000%.
It's so like, how are you dealing with it though? Like, how are you guys fixing that? Is just like, as they come up, you just fix it, or are you trying to find a more holistic approach?
Yeah, like there's a few different things we're doing. We're using some software, shout out Secura, Y Combinator backed voice agent testing platform. Basically, they use voice agents to call your voice agents, and they call thousands of times with hundreds of different personalities, tonalities, names, information, requests, and then it spits out what's working and what's not working and how to fix the prompt. It'll actually give you a recommended prompt. And so like that's a tool that we're using to rapidly deploy changes. Then we've got some manual work as well, people listening to the calls every time a call comes in, giving us feedback. But yeah, I mean, every phone call, every conversation with the customer, or they can text the AI, so even through text, every conversation is a new data point that we need to be looking at. What went well, what went right, what can we change, what can we do more of?
Is that Jayde, is that the company that you were talking about that does like the load testing on voice agents, or were you thinking of was that a different one?
Oh, yeah. Actually, Brayden was the one that told me that. That's right.
That's cool. That's awesome. I love that. Be able to load test all those your voice agents, because it basically goes through, I guess, as many exception cases as possible. Because I guess also accents, right? You were saying it goes through different like accents and tones and stuff like that. Could be difficult, especially in Canada. Like, they're huge, diverse set of people with, like, my dad has like a thick Portuguese accent. Sometimes went on to phone with like automated. I don't know if there's actually voice agents, but like, automated messages and people on the other line, and he struggles sometimes, even with talking with like Siri or something like that. Like, he struggles with that. Mind you, Siri's dumb compared to everything else here, but
Yes.
he still struggles with an accent. And I personally don't think his accent's that thick, but there's people out there with even crazier situations, right? So
Totally. Yeah. So I think with voice agents, it's a super special thing for many reasons. But what always interests me about voice agents is how a lot of small businesses or startups are building their company around we'll call it a specific API. They'll couple themselves to like an API, right? And they're kind of fixated on that. And if the API goes down or that company goes down, they're going to be losing a lot of calls. Their voice agent's going to be broken. There's a lot of like integrations and moving parts that always happens in a startup, in a tech company. We've seen this a few weeks ago. I think Google went down or something went down, and then Cursor was down, Firebase was down. A lot of these like different technologies were down, and you can see where like that single point of failure is, right? And then on the flip side, right, you have these AI companies like OpenAI and Google and Gemini. They're releasing what looks like new features and I'll just call them new features that are starting to put small businesses out of business, right? Is there anything that you're fearful of that one of these conglomerates will kind of come in and create that might disrupt the automotive industry, hindering businesses like yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be crazy not to think that could happen. It's a pretty big industry. It's also a very tight knit industry. Like it's kind of feels like Kelowna. It's a big city, but it's a small town at the same time. It's like everybody knows everybody, and that's the automotive industry. And so like I think there's still room for more companies like ours. We have some big competitors. That's okay. We're really happy to be the underdogs here in this situation, especially timing wise. But yeah, I mean, Google will come out with something. I seen another platform the other day that like you just type in your Google My Business, you copy and paste the URL, it scrapes everything, and it's a voice agent, and so it's your receptionist. But the issue is the front end of getting a voice agent is easy. Like anybody can do that part. It's what happens to the data and the security and the dashboards and where these leads are being submitted and how they're formatted and like that is the complex part here for anybody to just go and learn to do. And so to automate that, I mean, it might happen one day, but like, if it does happen, we'll do it.
Yeah, the value proposition here, what I'm hearing, is that whole flow that you guys kind of handle after the voice agent gets involved. The voice agent gets involved, captures all the data. You guys have the data. You guys integrate into a bunch of different systems. Might be the case that some small businesses or some other AI automotive dealerships aren't doing that. So I totally agree, and I think it's the channel on how we're communicating with AI and then what we do with the data after is the value.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Are you seeing anything? Because like I know you love everything in the auto industry. I feel like you're really like deep into it. There's AI trends, and then there's like maybe auto industry trends. Do you see any auto industry trends that are coming up that might be beneficial to you, or maybe detrimental, but like auto industry specific?
Detrimental to me and our business,
or beneficial? Could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if this really answers your question. There's this thing called a CDP, customer data platform. They're very, very helpful. Basically, it aggregates all your data silos into one, and it will like automatically do outreach to people that are in the market to buy a car or book a service, and it will push Google and Meta ads to just those people, or it'll send you emails like, Cory found a vehicle for you, or hey Cory, we've seen you've been looking at this SUV 4 times in the last month. We just did a price drop on it. Here's the information. And so CDPs work really good, but also it uses dirty data if you don't aggregate and clean your data. So like there's a lot of the auto industry and the data guys are like, hey, these are stupid if you don't clean your data. And there's people that don't clean their data and they're having good results as well. So I don't know. CDPs is just another piece of technology that people have been selling dealers. And to me, as a marketer, it's very helpful. But some people think it's a trend as well. So
is there a popular CDP that is pretty popular in the industry?
Yeah, Full Path, probably my favorite.
Oh, I feel this. Yeah.
I mean, we're a marketing agency. They do marketing as well, but they just market to the people inside the platform, inside their CRM and DMS. So like in their database, where we're bringing new people in that funnel. So we don't really compete. But yeah, CDPs are pretty awesome.
Very cool, man. Yeah, I mean, and I've heard you mention this before. There's a lot of different systems, these DMSs, these CDPs. And I think this just kind of goes back to how well can your software and you guys integrate with these different platforms, right? That kind of makes you at the top, right? Gives you guys that value proposition. Mm-hmm. What would you say is like, what are you most excited about? Like, I know you're very passionate. This is like the Ikigai method, right? It's like, what are you passionate about? What would people pay you for, and what are you good at? And I think you've definitely found yours, right? But what would you say, especially bringing in AI, are you most excited about, or you foresee happening in the next year or two? You think all dealerships are going to kind of go on to AI, or you think there's going to be some
100%?
100%?
Yeah. Yep. And if they don't, they're just not going to be in business. Like I'm so confident in that. That's why we've completely pivoted after 10 years of marketing tier 2 and tier 3. Yeah. Like, hey, shut the agency down or keep it running for our current clients, but go all in on the AI. I 100% bet my life over it.
Dude, it's first to market. Yeah,
yeah,
it is. How fast can you get on board and get these clients on, right, before someone else does it for you, or someone else does it regardless, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of blows you out of the water.
And it may not be voice. Not every dealership might not be using voice. That's okay. Not every dealership is going to use a CDP. Not every dealership is going to use an agency to run their ads. Most are. But like I've already thought of pieces of like different features and products. I'm like, oh my goodness, would that put the voice out of business? Like, is that better than the voice? Like, there's one thing that's
What?
really on my mind. I've never seen anybody do it. Don't really want to say it right here, but
Okay. All right.
I just can't find anything wrong with it, and I'm trying to before I start telling people about it. But yeah. Anyways, there's an example.
I'm gonna want to hear about this after.
Yes.
But I'm interested. Out of curiosity, I just started thinking about this as you were talking there. You know, you're focused on missed calls, right? How, like, when you're looking at maybe just like a single dealership, how much of their lead flow is coming through the phone versus like being booked online? Because I feel that's an important one as well too. I feel like a lot of people still call a dealership. Like I know I still call a dealership when I go to book an appointment. There's actually very few times where I've gone online to book it, but I'm just curious, like if you have data behind that when you guys were kind of starting or you're seeing it now.
Okay, I'm curious. When you call the dealership, how many times do you have to call before they pick up?
I don't think I've actually run into a missed call situation yet.
Amazing. Okay, you are like amazing. You're ahead of the game. Cool. Props
I'm
to
the
the
exception,
dealership that
maybe.
you go to. All right. I can't answer your question directly, but what I can say, like I don't know the mix. It's so different for every dealership. But most of their business is coming through phone call, right? Here's an example. We work with a dealership in California, Sacramento, pretty big Dodge store, Stellantis. In September, they had 2,200 missed phone calls for the month. I'm rounding within like 10, right? 2,200 phone calls. Of those 2,200, 1,800 of those were unique callers. So only 400 people called back when their phone call missed. That's 1,800 opportunities that they missed out on because they simply didn't pick up their phone. And so what we've been finding is I would say 60 to 70%, the average dealership, those calls that come in are always looking to book a service appointment. Other ones are some sales, but a lot of them are like, hey, I'm looking to speak to Becky. Could I talk to her? Or, hey, I have a complaint. Here it is. Or, hey, I left my hat in the back of the car. It's in the service bay. I need it. So there's all these different scenarios why people call. But when you look at advertising, a lot of advertisers drive calls as conversions, and they're not picking it up. And so most of their business is coming through calls. A lot of people want to text a dealership now. And so, like, we're giving people the option to text the AI.
Cool.
There's a lead flow.
Very cool. And then going right into the nitty gritty real quick, how do you guys like implement this for a single dealership? Are you giving them the phone number to call? Or are you integrating with their phone system? Even the text messaging, like how does that work?
How deep do we want to get into this? Because we learned
I just like
so
real
much
quick
along this
TLDR.
process. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
real quick.
TLDR.
Yeah.
All right. One agent does everything. Books sales and service, takes escalation requests in terms of something the manager has to get involved. We give a number that we provide to the dealership, and they set up call forwarding. So it just replaces voicemail. If a human can't get to the phone, the receptionist is busy, somebody walked in at the front desk and they're talking to them, it goes to our AI, says, hey, sorry, nobody's here to take the call, but I can help you. What are you looking for? Oh, looking to book an appointment. Cool, I can do that, and then collects the information. So that's how the flow works.
Easy peasy.
Yep.
Do you ever see a situation where you're not just like the voice agent is actually the first line instead of like a human? Because usually it's like it'll ring, 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 missed, then voice agent. Do you ever see a situation where it's voice agent, like ring, 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 voice agent first, and then if they want a person, then it goes to a person?
I see a situation or that happening eventually. The thing is, the car business is a relationship business, and I don't believe we should be trying to replace people in that human connection. I really do believe we should be rescuing those missed opportunities. We're just a backstop, right? You wouldn't play in the Stanley Cup without a goalie, right? And that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
The empty net is their voicemail, and nobody likes that.
Right.
So when we rolled out our product, our MVP, we signed on a dealership. They paid us before the product was even built. We then built the product, we tested it, and that's how we initially set it up. We had 4 agents running on all different phone lines. It was an absolute chaos to set up. It took a long time, and we were the very first point of contact. Why were we the first point? The average dealership, only 11% of the time does customer information actually get collected. So we're like, somebody calls in looking for a vehicle, they talk to the person, they hang up the phone. Now they don't know their name, their number, their email, any of that.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. I know, it's insane. So what we tried to do is reverse engineer that. The AI would kick in, say, hey, Cory, why are you calling? Your number, etc. Take that information, then pass you on to the team and submit your information to the CRM.
Yep.
The issue with that was people just wanted to speak to a human, and they just wanted a question or an answer, right? And so eventually that'll happen, but I don't think it's going to be a really big adoption in the dealership space.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna kind of wrap this up here because I know we're kind of pressed for time, dude. I really appreciate you coming on this podcast. What we kind of like to do is leave this with like an open-ended question, and the question is kind of like putting you on the spot here. Is if today were your last day, Brayden, with one insight from life or business, what would you want to leave the world with?
Damn, that's a good question. Man, I'm a huge believer in living by values and doing what you want to do in life. Like, obviously within your moral compass and the law, but like, if you want to take that jump and start a business and quit your job, like, go fucking do it. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't. You can tell yourself, oh, it's too risky, or oh, I've got a kid. I don't know. I don't have kids, so it's a bad example. But like, just go figure it out. You don't need to know what to do. You just need to know your next step and go take it. So get clear what you want, build a roadmap as best as you can. Just go do it. Like,
Dude,
that's
I
all
love
I've got.
That. I love that. It's that alone. Like, even if I always think about, I forget who said this, but the worst case, I think it was Alex Ramosi. The worst case scenario is never the worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whenever you think about doing something risky, like, and you're thinking about like, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? It's usually not as bad as you think. You have a roof over your head. You have some food to eat. You have your family or your friends around. You're probably okay. So I love that a lot. And even with kids, I always tell people this. When I found out that I was going to have a daughter, she was the reason why I quit my job and actually started like entrepreneurship full time. Like, that's always my reason, because I never wanted having a kid to be a reason why I didn't try something. So even some of the crazy excuses of like starting a family can actually be a reason to go do something, as long as you make it. So anyways, I love that. It's awesome, man.
There you go. Little fire under your ass. Brayden, dude, I'm so glad that you took time to be here today. So appreciative of you. Is there anything that you want to plug in before we wrap up the pod here?
That's it. Thank you so much for having me, gentlemen. I appreciate
That's
it.
it.
Love our conversations. Excited to see what Super SaaS Bros turns into.
There you go. You can go to dealersurge. Is .ai or a dealersurge?
.ai.
There you go. Dealersurge.ai. Check out Brayden. Check out everything he does. If you have a dealership, go hit him up. Thank you guys so much for tuning into our podcast. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. You can leave a rating, review. Don't know what it does, but I think it helps. Really appreciate you guys. We'll see you. Don't think we'll have a podcast this Friday because we put it on Tuesday. So next Friday, you will see us unless you don't. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Super SaaS Bros with Cory and Jayde. We'll see you next time.